Once upon a time, in a quaint little village nestled between dark woods and rolling hills, there lived a cursed cat named Midnight and a cursed dog named Shadow. Both animals had eyes that glowed like eerie lanterns in the night, and their gaze filled the hearts of other creatures with fear. Midnight and Shadow weren't always cursed. Long ago, they were normal pets, beloved by their human owners, until an ancient and wicked sorcerer arrived in the village. Seeking revenge for some long-forgotten wrong, the sorcerer placed a sinister spell upon the two pets, forever dooming them to be creatures of darkness. From that day on, every night when the moon graced the sky, Midnight and Shadow's eyes would illuminate like ghostly orbs. They would venture out into the darkness, where the once peaceful village turned into a haunting place. One gloomy night, a brave young rabbit named Whiskers decided to confront the fearsome duo. "Why do you scare us all?" asked Whiskers with trembling courage. Midnight stared back at Whiskers, her eyes glowing a chilling blue. "We're cursed," she whispered, her voice filled with sorrow. "The sorcerer's wicked spell has trapped us in this form forever. We never wanted to frighten anyone." Shadow, the dog with eyes like fiery embers, chimed in, "Indeed, we were once happy pets, but now we roam the night, cursed and dreaded." Whiskers felt a pang of sympathy for Midnight and Shadow. "Is there no way to break the curse?" he asked. "We have searched high and low for a cure, but to no avail," Midnight replied. Determined to help, Whiskers called a gathering of all the frightened animals in the village. The animals shared their fears and stories of Midnight and Shadow's haunting antics. But Whiskers urged them to consider that the cursed cat and dog were suffering too. With newfound unity, the animals devised a plan. They would seek out the sorcerer responsible for the curse and convince him to lift it. Guided by Whiskers' bravery and led by Midnight and Shadow, they set forth on a perilous journey to the sorcerer's hidden lair. The journey was fraught with dangers as they encountered eerie sounds, deep shadows, and ghostly whispers. But they pressed on, knowing their mission was more important than their fears. At last, they reached the dark castle where the wicked sorcerer resided. In a nerve-wracking confrontation, the animals bravely faced the sorcerer. "Please, lift the curse you placed upon Midnight and Shadow," Whiskers implored. The sorcerer sneered, his voice dripping with malice. "I'll never undo what I've done. They shall remain cursed forever." But the animals refused to give up. They united their voices, pleading with the sorcerer, recounting tales of Midnight and Shadow's suffering, and the sorrow they had brought upon the once peaceful village. Touched by their sincerity, the sorcerer hesitated. "Very well," he said with a wicked grin. "I will break the curse, but only if you can bring me a rare, glowing flower that blooms in the darkest part of the haunted woods." The animals accepted the challenge, for they were determined to free Midnight and Shadow from their cursed existence. They journeyed deeper into the woods, facing their deepest fears, until they discovered the elusive glowing flower. Returning to the sorcerer, they presented him with the radiant blossom. True to his word, the sorcerer lifted the curse from Midnight and Shadow. The cat's eyes lost their eerie glow, and the dog's eyes returned to a warm, comforting brown. Midnight and Shadow were overjoyed to be free of their curse, and the animals of the village rejoiced with them. From that day on, Midnight and Shadow became beloved members of the community, using their newfound abilities to light up the dark paths and protect the village from true dangers. And so, the once cursed cat and dog became heroes, reminding everyone that even in the darkest of times, there is hope and courage in unity. The village prospered, and the legend of Midnight and Shadow lived on, teaching generations to come the importance of compassion, bravery, and the power of overcoming darkness with light. As the years passed, Midnight and Shadow continued to guard the village with their gentle eyes, no longer instilling fear but offering comfort and guidance. Whiskers, now a wise elder, often shared their story with the village's young ones, reminding them that darkness can be defeated by goodness and love. Yet, the sorcerer's wickedness was not forgotten. As the village thrived, whispers circulated of a new threat lurking in the shadows. Rumors spoke of a descendant of the original sorcerer, bent on revenge against those who had undone his ancestors' curse. One fateful night, a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. Eyes gleaming with malevolence, he unleashed a powerful spell, causing the village to fall under an eerie slumber. The village's animals, including Midnight, Shadow, and Whiskers, were not spared from the sorcerer's wrath. The enchanted sleep gripped the village, with only the cursed cat and dog unaffected. Together, they stood as the last line of defense. Midnight's eyes shone with an ethereal brilliance, and Shadow's eyes blazed like stars, as they confronted the malevolent sorcerer. Whiskers approached the sorcerer, not with fear but with determination. "Why do you seek revenge against innocent beings?" he asked, his voice steady. The sorcerer scoffed, "You may have undone my ancestors' curse, but you can't stop me from taking what I desire." "But what you seek is not worth the pain you cause," Whiskers reasoned. "There is no happiness in darkness and revenge." Midnight stepped forward, her once cursed eyes glowing brightly. "We have experienced the torment of a curse. It's not the answer." Shadow nodded, his fiery gaze fixed on the sorcerer. "Break free from the darkness that consumes you." The sorcerer hesitated, conflicted between his thirst for vengeance and the voices of reason before him. Slowly, his grip on the village loosened, and the enchantment began to wane. With a heavy sigh, he whispered, "I have lost so much in my pursuit of revenge. I thought it would fill the void in my heart, but it only deepened it." Feeling compassion for the sorcerer's pain, Midnight gently touched his hand with her paw. "There's still a chance to find peace," she said softly. Moved by their words and gestures, the sorcerer released the village from his spell. The animals stirred, awakening from their enchanted slumber, grateful to Midnight, Shadow, and Whiskers for saving them once more. The sorcerer decided to leave the village, seeking redemption and a new purpose for his life. With time, he found solace in helping others and mending the pain he had once caused. Midnight, Shadow, and Whiskers continued to protect the village, but this time, they were not alone. The villagers stood united, understanding that they were stronger together than divided by fear and anger. As the seasons passed, the legend of Midnight and Shadow evolved. They were no longer feared but revered as symbols of hope and the triumph of good over evil. Their story spread far beyond the village, reaching neighboring towns and inspiring many with their tale of bravery and compassion. People from all around came to visit the village, hoping to catch a glimpse of Midnight and Shadow, the once cursed cat and dog who had turned into heroes. The village prospered, becoming a hub of harmony and unity, guided by the lessons learned from their dark past. Midnight and Shadow spent their days protecting the village, but during the nights, they would venture out on special missions. They traveled far and wide, helping other creatures who were in need, facing various challenges that ranged from rescuing lost animals to thwarting wicked creatures with evil intentions. Their fame attracted allies and friends from all corners of the realm. Among them was Luna, a graceful owl with shimmering silver feathers, and Thorin, a wise and gentle bear with a heart as big as his imposing figure. Together, they formed an extraordinary team, known as the Guardians of Light. As the Guardians of Light, they upheld justice and peace throughout the land. Villages sought their aid, and creatures in distress would call upon their support. Midnight's keen intelligence and Shadow's unparalleled speed complemented Luna's wisdom and Thorin's strength, making them an unstoppable force. But there were still challenges ahead. One day, news reached them of a new and formidable threat looming on the horizon, a powerful sorceress named Morgana, who sought to plunge the world into eternal darkness. Morgana was a master of dark magic and had gathered an army of malevolent creatures to carry out her malevolent plans. The Guardians of Light knew they had to act swiftly. They set out on an arduous journey, traveling through treacherous terrains, crossing cursed forests, and facing dark storms that seemed to have a life of their own. Morgana had unleashed her minions to obstruct their path. The Guardians fought fiercely, and as they battled the darkness, the villagers they had once protected came to their aid, standing side by side with the heroes they admired. It was the villagers' unwavering support that bolstered the Guardian's strength and determination. After numerous struggles and sacrifices, they finally reached Morgana's dark fortress. The sky was shrouded in a foreboding mist, and eerie howls echoed in the air. Morgana stood at the tower's peak, her eyes blazing with malevolence, ready to unleash her darkest spell upon the world. The Guardians of Light faced Morgana with valor, summoning their newfound unity and harnessing the power of compassion they had experienced during their own trials. They urged Morgana to consider the pain she was causing and the possibility of redemption. But Morgana's heart had been consumed by bitterness and hatred, and she scorned their words. The battle that ensued was intense, with spells flying and energies clashing, shaking the very foundations of the tower. In the climax of their confrontation, it was Midnight's unwavering gaze that seemed to pierce through the darkness shrouding Morgana's heart. She hesitated for a moment, remembering the pain she had endured in her quest for vengeance. Shadow, recognizing this moment of vulnerability, approached Morgana with a gentle paw. "You have the power to break free from this darkness," he said. "It's never too late to change." Luna's calming voice echoed, "We, too, were once cursed, but we found hope and redemption. You can too." Tears welled in Morgana's eyes, and for the first time in a long while, she felt a glimmer of remorse. Her dark aura began to wane, replaced by a faint glow of inner light. "You are not alone," Thorin said, his deep voice resonating with sincerity. "We can help you find the path back to the light." Overwhelmed by the compassion shown to her, Morgana surrendered to the Guardians of Light. With a burst of energy, they channeled their combined power into a spell that broke the dark enchantments that had consumed Morgana's heart. As the darkness dissipated, Morgana looked upon her surroundings with a new perspective. The beauty of the world she had once tried to plunge into darkness now touched her soul. She had been given a chance to change, and she vowed to use her magic for good from that day forward. And so, Morgana joined the Guardians of Light, the once terrifying sorceress transformed into a protector of all that was good and just. The realms they had saved celebrated their triumph, and the Guardians' legend spread even further. In the village where it all began, Midnight and Shadow became more than just symbols of hope, they were now symbols of unity and redemption. The once cursed cat and dog taught the world that darkness can be defeated not with vengeance, but with compassion and understanding. From that day on, the village remained a beacon of light, where all creatures lived in harmony, and darkness never found a foothold. And whenever a new threat emerged, the Guardians of Light, with Midnight, Shadow, Luna, Thorin, and Morgana, stood together to protect the realms, reminding everyone that even in the darkest of times, the light of hope and goodness would prevail. Sweet dreams, everyone. Until next time.